Hi, and good morning, everybody. How are you doing today on this beautiful summer day? It is 80 degrees already. Going to be another hot one. It is summer in Rochester. Let's appreciate it. Um, because it's not going to last always. To everything, there is a season. Let's conclude our work today in science on the respiratory system. If you watch that Khan Academy video, you should be able to get through this relatively easy. I suggest that you do. Um, Everything that's put there is put there to help you. The human body is a large chapter in life science. You're going to see something on the test pertaining to the human body. Um, Trust and believe. So let's get started. Today, what I want you to do is to be able to understand these things about the respiratory system, that the diaphragm and the rib muscles contract when you inhale and relax with exhale, that the process of getting oxygen into the body and releasing carbon dioxide is called respiration. We've heard that before. We've heard that before. Um, and what we're going to look at today is in what part of the lungs does the exchange of gas or oxygen occur and carbon dioxide, right? What causes the gases to move into the lungs during the gas exchange, and what is the difference between breathing and respiration. So I'm going to share to you this little sheet I have here, this little post that's on the outside of the lesson. I wish I could make it bigger. I've also included the vocabulary. You will see all of this very shortly on your own when we look at the um, what's the sheet? Um, when we look at the worksheet, that's all I can see at the moment on CK12, which we've gotten almost all of our science off of. Um, let's take a look at this diagram here. And this is the respiratory system, right? Which begins with the nose and ends in the diaphragm. So we're going to need to know about all of these little things here, these little parts, the alveoli, the throat, esophagus, trachea, larynx, the mouth, the nasal cavity. All of that is involved in our respiratory system, as well as the bronchi. And within the bronchi are our alveoli, which includes the capillaries, the very, very tiny blood vessels that feed the lungs. And remember, we have an air exchange, which here, this is lacking oxygen, and this is oxygenated air, okay, blood vessels as well. And then you have the bronchioles, the tiny network within our lungs, and the arterioles, the smaller arteries, and the venules, which are the smaller veins that form the network that nourishes our lungs. And it is within these alveoli when we smoke where we do the damage. So let's go on and take a look at our lesson for today. Got some vocabulary here. Diaphragm, which is the large sheet-like muscle below the lungs, which allows breathing to occur when it contracts and relaxes. If you're a singer, you know about singing from your diaphragm. It's where the power comes from. Exhalation is the pushing the air out of the body through your nose or your mouth. Inhalation is taking the air into the body through the nose or the mouth. And respiration is the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the body and outside air. We breathe in oxygen, goes through our lungs, and then we exhale carbon dioxide and water. So let's go on now and look at our CK12 lesson. So, what we're talking about is the respiratory system. How do you breathe? Why do we breathe, rather? We breathe because we need oxygen, and that breathing also releases carbon dioxide from our bodies into the air. The respiratory system is the body system that brings air containing oxygen into the body and releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And recall that oxygen is needed to make ATP. I don't know if we covered ATP, and I'll make a note of that. And as a matter of fact, what I will do right now is let's look up ATP so that we're not just passing by something unfamiliar. ATP, biology. Let's talk about it. So, it is the primary carrier of energy in cells, and it is called adenosine triphosphate, and it is an energy carrying molecule found in the cells of all living things. It captures chemical energy obtained from the breakdown of food molecules and releases it to fuel other cellular processes. And so it is produced by enzymes, but part of what needs to, this is biology, we're not going to go this deep, but it needs oxygen. Okay. What do we see? Oxygen, oxygen, oxygen. So that when you don't have sufficient oxygen, you can't have the energy that your cells need throughout your entire body to do all of their different processes. Remember, cells form tissues, tissues form organs, and organs form organ systems, and all of that keeps your body running the way it's supposed to. So let's go on. How we breathe. It's mostly involuntary. We don't have to think about it, thank goodness. That would be some work. It's an involuntary action controlled by your brain, part of your brain that also controls your heartbeat. So if you swim, do yoga, or sing, you know that you can control your breathing. However, and taking air into the body through the nose and mouth is called inhalation. Pushing the air out of the body through the nose or mouth is called exhalation. And so the woman who is swimming is exhaling before she surfaces from the pool water. She gets fresh oxygen and holds it into her lungs, and then she holds it while she's underwater. So she's controlling her breathing. So how do the lungs allow air in? Air moves in and out of the lungs by movement of muscles. The most important muscle in the process of breathing is the diaphragm, and that is a sheet of muscle that spreads across the bottom of the rib cage, and that causes the ribs to move out. And this causes the chest volume to increase, which actually moves up. And because the chest volume is larger, the air pressure, okay, I lost myself. The air pressure inside the lungs is lower than the air pressure outside. And so that causes air to be sucked into the lungs. And the diaphragm and rib muscles relax, air is pushed out of the lungs. And so exhalation is just like when you let the air out of a balloon. And so how does the inhaled oxygen get into the bloodstream? The exchange of gases between the lungs and the blood happen in tiny sacs called alveoli. These are our alveoli. And so the walls of the alveoli are very thin, which allows the gases to pass through them. And they're lined with capillaries, which are tiny blood vessels. These are all a little network of blood vessels. Oxygen moves from the alveoli to the blood in the capillaries. Okay, the blood in the capillaries. That's around the alveoli. And at the same time, carbon dioxide moves in the opposite direction from the capillary blood to the alveoli. And then the gases move by something called diffusion, which means there's an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. So there's more oxygen in the alveoli than in the blood, right? So the oxygen moves from the alveoli to the blood. It passes through it, inside it, and oxygenates your blood. So we get oxygen into the lungs by inhaling, and then we expel, once we use that, carbon dioxide. And we're getting oxygen to the body and releasing carbon dioxide, and that is called respiration. Sometimes breathing is called respiration, but there's much more to respiration than just breathing. Breathing is only the movement of oxygen into the body and carbon dioxide out of the body. But respiration includes the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the blood and the cells of the body. And they just shut this down. That's insane. Because there was a video there. That is so crazy. There was a video. I mean, when I put this lesson together, so guess what you get out of the video? So then, summary, the diaphragm muscles contract when you inhale, relax when you exhale, and the process of getting oxygen into the body and releasing carbon dioxide. That whole process is called respiration. In what part of the lung do the gases exchange? Ooh. What causes the gases to move into the lungs? Okay. Diffusion. And what part of the lung? The tiny sacs called the what? And the difference between breathing and respiration. That's what I want you to answer. Okay. If you have gone through this and you understand what you watched in Khan Academy, then you have a good understanding of the respiratory system. That's all there is. You're really going to have to just memorize, and you've got these lessons to keep you on your toes. So that's all we have today. We're going to move on to a different body system on Thursday, and that's all. Everybody take care, be well, be safe.